It's time to sit back, relax, and listen to Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life. Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life will inspire, motivate, and empower you. Live your best life now. Listen, learn, think, and decide. Change your attitude, change your life. And now, here's your host, Joan Herman.
Welcome to Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life. I'm Joan Herman. Thanks for tuning in. Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life brings you interviews with some of the most inspirational and influential people in the world. It's our goal to educate and empower you so you can live your best life now. Thank you for taking time for yourself, and thank you for letting us be a part of your life. We have another great show for you today. In 1985, at age 35, Dr. Marilyn Joyce was diagnosed with melanoma. A week out of the hospital, she was diagnosed with stage 4 uterine cancer. Within 4 years, she was in a wheelchair, weighed 88 pounds, and was given weeks to live. At that point, she made lifestyle changes that changed everything. Dr. Joyce is the author of the best-selling books, 5 Minutes to Health, I Can't Believe It's Tofu, and Instant Energy, the 5 keys to unlimited energy and vitality. She's a former director of nutrition for the Cancer Center Treatments of America and a 5-time cancer survivor who is now a 27-plus year thriver. Welcome, Dr. Joyce. Thank you so much for joining us.
It's my pleasure, Joan. Thank you so much for inviting me to be a guest today.
What an amazing story you have. It offers so much hope to so many people. So tell us about your initial cancer diagnosis. Did you suspect something was wrong? And what were you told when they determined it was melanoma?
To be quite honest, I never suspected anything was wrong. I had a lot of energy and I was, working around the clock and raising 2 kids. So I was really caught up in just living my life every day until I saw this spot on my face under my right eye. And I've had a spot there for most of my life, so it was nothing significant. It was just like a bump, and because I'd gotten hit in the eye with a baseball when I was 12. Mm-hmm. But all of a sudden, it was no longer just like a blue bump, a little faint blue bump. It was now a crusty, hard black and purple bump, and it looked awful. But, it was one of those things where the only reason I really looked at it was because I was invited to speak, and it was vanity that took me to the doctor. It wasn't fear of anything. It was like, did you get this thing off my face? And the doctor said, how long have you had it? And I said, I don't know. My whole life is, I've had a bump there, but nothing like this. And he said, this could be serious. And so that's when they did the biopsy and found out it was melanoma.
So, Dr. Joyce, all the cancers that you battled from that point on, were they metastasized melanomas or were they different primary cancers?
They were different primary. There were 2 cancers. One was the melanoma, which we got early stage, and then uterine cancer stage 4, which was the other. I don't like to focus on hereditary stuff because then people forget that it's diet and lifestyle that are, it's like your heredity is the rifle or the gun, mm-hmm. and your lifestyle is the trigger. But in my family, the fact was that 2 of my great aunts had died from the same cancer, but they were way older than me. So, it was like, another shock. How could this be? I'm young. I've got energy. I'm healthy. Well, I assumed I was. But cancer really is the manifestation of unresolved emotional issues. So, it was like over the ensuing years, I reflected back over what may have triggered all of that, and really looked more deeply into it. Now, at that time, I was basically out of school with my biochemistry degree, and I was really focused on the physical. Today, my whole approach to working with cancer is really looking at the whole person, body, mind, and spirit.
Is that how you approached it? Because as I said, you were literally given weeks to live. You couldn't walk, yeah. and you were truly end stage at that point. And I know that there are so many people now that are going through this type of situation. So what is it that you did that you can perhaps offer some information about to help another person?
Great question, Joan, because truly, one is never give up unless you're really ready to go. One of the questions that I often ask my patients is, do you want to live or do you not want to live? If the choice is to live, then we'll do everything we can to help that be the case. But for me, I would say that, one, I have always had a survivor instinct. I was a runaway kid when I was 14 due to a very traumatic childhood and early teenage years. So I was a runaway at 14. So I learned how to really take care of myself and survive and thrive despite my beginning. But beyond that, the fact was that I was on the verge of giving up. You know, I was in a lot of pain. I was unable to walk. I couldn't eat or drink anything. All I could do was suck on ice chips at the lowest point. And I was only 88 pounds and had no energy. But I was blessed because I had people in my life who loved me enough to do something about it. So they dragged me off to a home show. Now, the last place somebody who's really ill wants to be is a noisy, ruckus home show. But at that home show, I met Jim, the Vitamix man. I can't remember his last name, but he was making all these concoctions, and he offered them to me, and I said, no, I don't want to embarrass you and me here at this point by throwing up all over the place. And he said, can you suck on ice chips? And I said, yeah, that's what I'm doing. And he made an ice chip concoction with nutrition in it. So he took the seeds and the fruit carefully out from the skin, didn't use the skin of the cantaloupe because it's, you know, the rough texture could carry a lot of bacteria and germs. But he put the fruit and the seeds into the Vitamix machine with ice and made this ice chip concoction. And basically, that was the first time I'd had nutrition in a long time, other than ice chips. And so here I was now having something that was more nutritious. And I outlived my prognosis. You know, 6 weeks later, we're looking at it, and my daughter and I are saying, holy mackerel, this is pretty amazing. You know, I've actually outlived my prognosis, which gives you that four-letter word, hope. Mm-hmm. That same weekend, though, I also met Dr. Bernie Siegel. I was dragged off the next day to a workshop he was doing. And he kept talking about what you focus on expands. Well, you know, what do most people focus on when they're sick? Sickness. Right. And he said you can't focus on the negative and do gratitude at the same time. So he suggested to all of us that we do a gratitude journal. I kind of missed that point when he talked about it in the class. But when he came over in the break and said, you know, asked me what my story was and, you know, what was going on, and I explained to him that, you know, I was told to go home and take care of my affairs. And he said, you know, have you thought about doing a gratitude journal? And I was like, are you out of your mind? I mean, I'm dying here. What have I got to be grateful for? You know, because you sometimes get those big blocks on your shoulder, which is what he told me I had rather than chips. Right. And I, you know, looking back, I did. I was angry. I was resentful. I wasn't really grateful for anything. And when I look at a lot of people who get sick, it doesn't just have to be cancer. It can be anything, and they're really, really on the verge of not being here. Oftentimes they do become belligerent and angry and frustrated. But if instead they could start to do things like a gratitude journal, writing down 5 things every day that they're grateful for, that can change everything. And that was the point. It was like the first day I did it, Joan, it was an overcast, dismal winter day in Canada, you know, snow-driven and all the rest of it. I couldn't even imagine sunshine. But I said to God, you know, if you want me to do this, give me a sign. And boy, oh boy, not more than a few minutes later, the sun shone through the clouds, only for a few seconds. But to me, that was a sign. And I wrote the same gratitude that day 5 times. Dear God, thank you for the sun. Thank you for the sun. Thank you for the sun. But a month later, I wrote 138 gratitudes, and they were all different. And I would say that, you know, what you focus on expands really is representative of the fact that I'm here now, because it was one of the major things that really, it wasn't the only thing. You know, as the foundation, you've got to have nutrition, you've got to have water, you've got to have a lot of things in place, but that attitude is so important.
And how did that experience lead you to your new work now with your book, Instant Energy?
Well, initially, I wrote a book called 5 Minutes to Health, and that was in the mid-'90s, and it was really the result of the work I was doing. I was asked to be on a TV show, and Doctor to Doctor, and the doctor kept saying, and she has a book, 5 Minutes to Health, and I'm like, oh, I don't have a book. There's no book. And on the break, she said, write the darn book. So, basically it was from all the work I've done, first of all, writing that book, which was basically a nutrition book with a little bit of lifestyle in it, to writing a book on stress, and then I Can't Believe It's Tofu. And then the day came where I realized that I needed to write the book about everything that I did, because I now have had time to work with it, to reflect back on what I did, and also to reflect back on all the things I did with my patients over the years, which were, off the charts, completely different from what I first experienced when I was first diagnosed with, it was chemotherapy and that was it. So I think basically what happened was I started to amalgamate all of that together and put it into the book, which now became Instant Energy. And originally it was just going to be a revised edition of 5 Minutes to Health. The instant energy part is that I have become known by my patients and my clients and my friends as the master of 5-minute healthy strategies that anyone can do anywhere, anytime. And it really is that fast. People think it's going to take a lot of time and a lot of money to be energized and healthy, and that's just not true, because 5 minutes can completely transform your energy level.
Dr. Joyce, before we run out of time, is there anything that you want to leave our listeners with?
Well, basically, Joan, what I would love to do is to gift your listeners with my 10 top energy tips. So they can go to 5minuteenergytips.com and they'll be able to get that gift and get started right away with some great energy tips.
And if you'd like to get more information about Dr. Marilyn Joyce and her work, you can visit her website, drmarilynjoyce.com. That's drmarilynjoyce.com. Doctor, I want to thank you so much for being here. As I said in the beginning, you are sharing what I call the best 4-letter word, and that's hope. And hearing your story, I just think gives so much hope and so much that people can look forward to.
Oh, thank you so much for having me on your show, Joan. This has just been a delight and a pleasure. Thank you.
We'll be right back.
Hi, this is Joan Herman, host of Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life. Did you know that Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life has a free monthly digital magazine that can be read online or emailed to your inbox? Every month, nationally recognized leaders in their field provide information to educate, inspire, and motivate you. We believe in a holistic approach to life, incorporating mind, body, and spirit. Check out a copy of Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life 24/7. Visit CYACYL.com and be sure to tell your friends. Thank you for joining us today. We hope you found the show informative. At Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life, we believe that knowledge is power. Take what you've learned, apply it, and live your best life now. Remember that the information provided are the opinions of our guests and should never replace the advice of a professional who knows your personal situation. If you'd like more information, visit our website, CYACYL.com. That stands for Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life. While on the site, listen to past shows on demand, read the digital magazine, and be sure to follow the show on Facebook and Twitter. Until next time, this is Joan Herman. Thanks for tuning in.